So today we're going to be looking at making the lamp table in CAD and in Onshape specifically. First thing we'll need to do is create a new document. So you can come over here to create and then select document and then put in the name lamp table as well as your name to denote the name of the document. I've already made one, so I'm just going to cancel that, but you can click create and I'm going to select my lamp table that's already existing. Now, as you can see here, I have an assembly done by the lamp table. This is what we're aiming for. This is our end result. To get to this point, we need to make three parts. The top, with a chamfer on the bottom, the apron, right, with a tenon joint, Morrison tenon joint, and that's the tenon there for the apron, and then the leg with the mortise and the tapered angles on the bottom sides of the leg. So the first thing we're going to make is the leg. So if we just come down to the bottom here and click Insert New Tab, the plus icon, and then select Create Part Studio. Then that will create a new part studio for us. What we'll do straight away is we're going to rename this tab to Leg. Makes it easy to keep track of. So now from here, let's start modeling. So I'm going to click on the front plane and I'm going to select the sketch button. So left clicking on the front plane and then left click on sketch. From here, I'm going to left click on the front view on my views over here, and just so I can see things a bit more clearly and from the right angle. Then I'm going to come over to my rectangle tool and select from the drop down menu the corner rectangle. Left click on that, and then we're going to left click on the origin point over here. We know that we're on top of that when the yellow dot gets highlighted with a box on top of a yellow box. So I'm going to left click once on the box or on the origin point, and then I'm going to start dragging up my rectangle. All right, so I'm just going to go directly up for now, and I'm going to left click once. And as you can see, my hands are away from my mouse after I've clicked left click once. And I'm just going to input the value that I want for the width dimension, which will be 50. And then I press enter on my keyboard. And then as you can see, the 70.718 is now highlighted white. And it's allowing me to input the value for that dimension as well. So I'm going to put the value 750 in for that dimension. From here, I'm going to zoom out. You can either pinch your touchpad to do that, or you can use your mouse, your scroll wheel on your mouse, or I think Alt scroll on your touchpad might work as well. From here, I just want to give the first angle for my leg. So I'm going to zoom down to the bottom, and I'm going to grab my line tool. I'm going to select on see that little box there, that denotes the center point in this line, so the center of the line. I'm going to come just to the left of that, so I'm not touching it or after it. I'm just going to come on the left side in any space here and left click in an arbitrary area as long as it's on the left side of that point. And then I'm going to left click again just above on the left line here. Okay, so it should be that angled line, and you're waiting for that yellow highlighted line to pop up as well. Left click on that. So now we have an angle. Then I want you to come up to your dimension tool here. All right, left click on that. And then what I want you to do is I want you to left click on the blue point at the end here, and then hold shift and left click on the bottom line at the bottom here. Right, if you do it on the right side, that would be the correct way of doing it, not on the left side, because we'll delete that line later. So on the right side, left click, and then as you can see, we have a dimension that's popped up. So right now, between the bottom and that point is 119 mil. So we're going to change that to 400 millimeters. All right. So that's now going up 400 millimeters, and we can now start working on deleting a few other lines. So the second thing I want to do before I delete those lines is I want to come over to here to this point at the bottom here, and then this origin point as well, and I'm going to drag that dimension out. So remember, holding shift while you do it, point to point, and then type in the number 20. So in reality, our timber is actually 42 by 42, not 50 by 50, and our angle is just 10 mil down, but we're doing 20 in here just to make it easier for our CAD model. Then I want to come over to my trimming tool, which is the scissors, left click on that. When that's highlighted blue, I can come through and I can delete this left line. As you can see, it only highlights the bottom edge of the bottom left line. It doesn't highlight the top one up here. So I'm going to left click on that line and that will trim it out. And then I'm going to zoom in on the bottom one. Make sure you're zooming in, otherwise you might miss it. And I'm going to left click on that bottom line connecting to the origin point. From here, I can now tick my sketch. So green box, tick. And I'm going to select my sketch on the left-hand side here. And I'm going to then extrude it with this button here, extrude or shift plus E. If I change the angle to the top left corner of the front view, it just gives me a better view. And I'm just going to make the depth 50 millimeters and then tick that. So now I have part of my leg done. I'm going to do the other angle on the other side of my leg. So I'm going to come over to the left-hand side of my view, depending on which side you chose. We're just looking for this line here to be on the face that we're looking at, directly at. Okay, and I'm just going to select the top face, not the bottom face, the top face, and then I'm going to do another sketch with this top face as my reference plane. So as you can see, that sketch box has popped up. So I'm going to now come through with my line tool, and I'm going to draw a line from this point in the top right corner all the way down, not to the center point or anything, but just in kind of to the right side of the where you think the center point is. So I come down there in line with the origin point, and I left click once, and I'm going to come across and then go 10 mil for that one. Oh, I might have made a mistake there. Yeah, I've done an angled line, unfortunately. So what I'll do is I'll go Control Z, and I'll just redo that line and make sure it's nice and straight. So zooming in if you're unsure. And then I don't need to change the dimension. I'm just going to then connect that line to my angled line at the top here. So that point there. So now I have an enclosed shape, and what I'll do now is I'll come through with my dimensioning tool, left click on that, and I'm going to click that bottom line there and make that 10 mil. And if I zoom in, it's slightly away from the edge. So what I need to do is I need to also dimension this point to the origin point. And I need to make that 40 millimeters. I actually need to make that 30 millimeters, and then this needs to be 20 millimeters. Alright, so now when I zoom into the edge, it should be directly on that edge now. So we got the 20 mil angle and then the 30 mil from that corner there. So the reason we put that both dimensions in is because if we didn't have that dimension there, this 20 mil might be anywhere in this space. Right? So it can be further left rather than right on the edge where we need it. From here, I'm going to tick my sketch. I'm going to select that face that's just got the angle in it, like that. Or I can come over to the sketch here, which I'll do. Then I'm going to select the extrusion button once again. And then I'm going to select the remove option. And I'm going to come to the blind button, and I'm going to go to the drop down menu and select up to face. What that will allow me to do is I can look from an angle in the back here and select the face I want it to extrude to, which will be this face here. So as you can see, it's now extruding all the way through up to that face. So now I can tick that sketch. And as you can see, we now have a leg with both angles on it. So now what we need to do is we need to come up with the mortises slots for the top of our leg, just like that, and then we'll be done. So I'm going to zoom into the top here. I'm going to come to the front face first, and I'm going to select this front face, do another sketch, and I'll get my line tool, and I'm going to select the construction button over here. Right, so they're both simultaneously selected, and I'm going to come and hover over the line until I find my center point, which we know is the it will have a yellow box pop up, and then you'll see that little grey box with the dot in the middle of the line. That means we're in the center. So I'm going to left click on that, and I'm going to go directly down, left click, and then type in 90 and enter. So remembering, we're just doing one click when we need to put the dimension in, not two clicks. So now I've got my line tool without the construction line selected, so I've deselected that, so it shouldn't be blue, it should be grayed out just like the rest of them. And I'm going to come down to the bottom of my 90mm line, drag my line across, and I'm just going to go about 6mm. So I clicked in arbitrary space and made sure the line's straight, and then I'm going to type in 6 and then enter. And then I'm going to go directly back up to the top line, and as you can see, those yellow dotted lines show me what it's parallel to, and that it's going directly up and directly across as well. So now I'm going to drop that line on the top face, and I'm going to come across around 12mm, and then I'm going to type 12 in and enter. And then I'm going to come directly down, and then as you can see, that yellow dot at the bottom of that construction line highlights when I'm in line with it. So I'm going to left click when that dot's highlighted, and then I'm going to come across to meet it in the middle. So now I have a fully enclosed rectangle. I'm going to tick that sketch. I'm going to select that rectangle, or you can go to the sketch over here, and then I'm going to do a little bit of an angle from my view. Right, so from front view to the top right, and I'm going to go extrude, remove the material, up to face. Oh, sorry, not up to face. I just want to do a blind extrusion on this one, and I want to go 10mm. So that's a 10mm deep slot, which we cut on the mortising drill. Tick that, and there you have your first slot, and we're going to do the exact same process on the other face. So now I'm going to select my left one in, because that's my other angle. Right, that's my other angle, and I know it's the angle because it's got that black line that goes through it. If you look on the other side, there's no line that goes through that flat face. The left face, selecting this face here, new sketch, line tool, construction line, center point down 90mm, directly down 90mm, get rid of the construction line, zoom in, and then directly across 6mm, and then directly up, all the way up on a straight line, directly across 12mm, and then directly down 90mm, and then into the middle, directly across. Tick that sketch, select the sketch, and extrude. Remove the material, and then select 10mm depth. So now we have our leg with a mortise slot on both sides of our leg, ready for our apron to go into it. So I'm going to stop the video there, and the next video we'll look at making the